Okay, so for parallel circuits, it's a circuit that's connected in such a way that there is more than one path for the electricity to flow through. Okay, so in series, the current was uniform. In parallel, the current, it splits through different paths. So the equation for that would be I total equals I1 plus I2 plus for however many resistors there are for current to flow through. The voltage is uniform in a parallel circuit. So that means that the V total on the battery or power supply is equal to V1, which is equal to V2, which is equal to however many there are in the circuit that are set up in parallel. The total resistance is actually a reciprocal sum. It's very different than it is in series. So that means 1 over the total resistance is equal to 1 over resistance 1 plus 1 over resistance 2 plus for however many resistors there are. So this might be easier done with just a button in your calculator where you can just say, you can put in your calculator 1 over resistor 1 plus 1 over resistor 2 plus for however many there are, and then use the -1 button. So in your calculator, that's this button right here, this x to the -1st. It's right between the x squared and the math button. The x to the -1 is the reciprocal button. So you can add up your 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R, whatever many there are, and then hit that x to the -1 button, and that'll give you the reciprocal sum of them, okay? Okay, so we're gonna jump right in with some examples. All right, so we have a 5, so we have to draw each one. Okay, so you have a 5 ohm and a 10 ohm resistor connected in parallel to a 17 volt power supply. So we're gonna draw that. So you have your power supply, battery or something, and then there's a resistor. And in parallel, that means an alternate path that kind of connects to the other path. So that's very different than series. In series, they're all in one path. But in parallel, 2 different paths for electricity to flow, okay? So there's your V total, this is your R1, this is your R2. Okay, we're gonna make ourselves a little chart like we did before. We have resistor, R, I, V. And we have 1, 2 in total. Okay, so it tells us resistor 1 is 5 ohms. Resistor 2 is 10 ohms. The power supply is 17 volts. Okay, so what's uniform in a parallel circuit? Okay, it's the voltage, right? The voltage is uniform. So if I know one of the voltages, I know all of the voltages. Okay, so then I just need to figure out the rest. Now, if I want to know our total, I can just figure out the reciprocal sum. So our total would equal, oh wait, I didn't say that this equals our total, did I? My bad, it equals our total. So I could do, in my calculator, 1 over 5 plus 1 over 10 to the -1st. So when you stick that in your calculator, can't really see the screen. 1, oops, in parentheses, 1 over 5 plus 1 over 10, close parentheses, and then do the negative first. And you get 3.33. Okay. Now you can find the I, either one, wherever you want to start, it doesn't really matter. So we can do, like for I1, so V equals I times R, so I equals V over R. So it would be 17 volts over 5 ohms. .4 amps. Okay. And you can do the same thing with resistor 2 and just not put the, you don't have to write the work for that one, I guess, because it's the same as the I1. So you just do 17 over 10, which you can do in your head, is 1.7 amps. And then to find the last one, I total equals I1 plus I2, right? So 3.4 plus 1.7. Okay. And so that's 5.1 amps. And if you want to check and make sure that that's correct, you use the one thing that you didn't use, which was to find the I total using V over R. So if you did that, so if you did 17 divided by 3.33, you should get about 5.1. And so that's how you know you've done it correctly, is if you can check yourself with the one thing that you didn't use. Okay, next example. Okay, so we have 3 resistors all in parallel. So we have a power supply, resistor 1, resistor 2, resistor 3. So this is V total, R1, R2, R3. Okay, and then we need to make our chart. So resistor, R, I, V. 1, 2, 3 total. Okay, so resistor 1 is 3 ohms, resistor 2 is 4 ohms, resistor 3 is 5 ohms, and it says you have a total current of 4.5 amps. And that's all they tell us. Okay, so I think first we're going to have to find our R total. So our R total is going to be 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5 in parentheses to the negative first. Okay, so we stick that in our calculator. You get 1.28. Okay, so then V equals I times R, so V total equals I total times R total. So that's just 4.5 amps times 1.28 ohms. So that's 5.76 volts. And so that's the voltage for one thing, then it's the voltage for all of it. So then I, you could just do it one time, I1, for instance, is V1 over R1. So 5.76 volts over 3 ohms. .92 amps. And then you can just finish the last two off with just your calculator. Okay, so just 5.76 divided by 4 and 5.76 divided by 5. So you get 1.44 amps and 1.52 amps. And when you add those up, they should be pretty close to 4.5. And that's it. Good luck with your homework.